So last year we had a little over 600, I think it was like 650,000, just basically about the same number of students. But we had thousands of applicants. And so, man, if we just had more dollars to support students for two reasons. One, because they need it and it helps them stay in school and achieve. But also, they always say the best part about the scholarship is that somebody believed in them. And that, to me, is priceless.
Hi, I'm Jeff Holden. Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. Our purpose and passion is to highlight a nonprofit organization in each weekly episode, giving that organization an opportunity to tell their story in their words to better inform and educate the respective communities they serve, as well as provide one more tool for them to share their message to constituents and donors. Our goal is to help build stronger communities through shared voices and to both encourage and support the growth of local nonprofit organizations through podcasting. Thanks to our founding partners for their foresight in helping us transform the way conversations start. CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations. Runyon Saltzman Incorporated, RSE, marketing, advertising, and public relations creating integrated communications committed to improving lives. And Western Health Advantage, a full-service healthcare plan for individuals, employer groups, and families. When students explore their options for higher education, the process can often feel overwhelming. That sound familiar? The decision of where to study, whether at a trade school, community college, or university, frequently comes down to cost. And for many academically capable students, additional challenges such as language barriers, transportation, childcare, and housing can complicate the path to success. Fortunately, community colleges often serve as the perfect solution, like Goldilocks finding what's just right. Yet many people don't realize that a robust support system exists to help students overcome these obstacles and successfully move on to the next chapter of their lives. As you'll hear in this episode, some of these challenges are really hard to imagine. Joining me today is Paula Allison, Chief Advancement Officer of the Los Rios Community College District and President of the Los Rios Colleges Foundation. We'll explore how the foundation plays a vital role in supporting students within California's second-largest community college district, which includes American River College, Cosumnes River College, Folsom Lake College, and Sacramento City College. Since joining Los Rios in 2016, Paula has witnessed significant growth and transformation, not only within the system itself, but also in the evolving needs and demographics of its student body. Paula Allison, welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network.
Thank you, Jeff. I am thrilled to be here. This is such a great opportunity to spend time with you today.
Oh, and we're so excited to hear what's going on in our collegiate system for so many people who don't know really what we're talking about until you explain it to them in a few minutes.
Can't wait.
Okay, so two things. We have to address this right up front. What is the Los Rios College system? Who is making up that community group of colleges?
Yeah, great question, because Los Rios doesn't really exactly say the name of the colleges, does it? When I started working here, people asked me if I worked for a river or an environmental organization.
Oh my gosh, I can see that. Yeah,
exactly.
It's
Makes
not
sense,
descriptive.
right? So Los Rios is the name of the district, the community college district, that is the umbrella for four community colleges in our region, and that is American River College, Cosumnes River College, Folsom Lake College, and our oldest, Sacramento City College. So in addition to the four campuses, we also have 6 centers. And so we serve a really large region, over 2,300 square miles in our service area.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So we actually go as far east as Placerville and as far west as UC Davis. We're the only community college that has a campus on a UC. So that's pretty cool.
And is that one of those additional 6 that you mentioned?
Correct. That's one of those centers, we call them.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I'm not sure I know really what that looks like.
Sure. So a center really extends education deeper into the communities that we serve. we know that we want to be as convenient as possible. And so if we can go to the community, have classes for locals, there's a better chance that they'll come. So that was sort of the idea behind centers. And so we also have we have one in Elk Grove, we have one in Natomas. So we're really just spreading our footprint in a larger way.
And you said it's on the UCD campus?
It is, yes.
So the community college student is actually getting exposure to
Correct.
the four-year university.
Yes.
In tandem with their education.
Absolutely. And so it's a really great opportunity, as you say, to expose them.
Yeah.
If their goal is transfer, then how wonderful it is to actually get to be on that four-year campus. And then we have some really great partnerships between our faculty at our center and the UC faculty. There's a really cool program right now they're building on fermentation science. So that's pretty fun. You get to go learn how to brew beer and make kombucha.
Yeah.
But learn science while doing those things.
That's so neat. So now we've got the understanding of the colleges and what their names are and how they are attached to Los Rios.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the community college itself?
Yes.
What is the distinction?
Sure.
Because we know we've got the universities in Sac State and UC Davis, but the distinction between the community colleges as either a feeder and or a sole source, and they go on to employment after that.
Yes. I mean, when people ask me to describe who we are and what we do, I like to say we are the Statue of Liberty of higher ed. Because that is who we serve, and we are an open access institution, so anybody that wants to take a class can come take a class at a community college. And we educate over 2/3 of Californians. The California community college system is actually the largest system of higher ed across the country. So we educate a lot of people, and that might be somebody who's wanting to, as we talked about earlier, transfer to a 4-year, maybe save some money along the way, figure out what they want to do in small class sizes with a lot of support. But another really important element of what we do is train the workforce. And that's why I think we're so critical to our region. We are able to be nimble and listen to what the needs are of our region, and then make sure we have a certificate program so that if folks want to come and upskill, get a certificate in a year, and leave with a high-paying job. And I think when I think about our mission is really just to really improve social and economic mobility. Again, whether you're going to join the workforce right away or you're going to transition to that 4-year and get your 4-year degree.
We were talking earlier as we were prepping for the conversation, and something that just blew me away. The system is 62,000 students. 62,000 students.
Yes.
That's almost double the size of Sac State.
Oh, it is. Yes.
It's a massive number of people you're working to educate. And the perception, I think, so often is that we think of a college student. College student is an 18 to 23, 4, 5-year-old student. But at the community college, and even to some degree, I'm sure, at the university level, that's not necessarily the case.
No.
I mean, you could have students who are in their 60s.
We
30,
do.
40,
Yes.
50, all the way up.
True.
And students may be single parents. Students may be family members.
Yes.
Meaning
Many
the
of them are.
parents
Yep.
of children. Tell me a little bit more about that. What does that complexion of the system look like today?
Yeah. Great question. And it's changing, as it is even for our 4-year counterparts. But a couple of really exciting things I think that have happened. So to your point, we, in that 18 to 24-year-old range, that's about 51% of our students. So again, about half are not traditional age.
Right.
One area that has really grown in the pandemic and to now is actually our under 18 population. And that's at 6%.
Wow.
And that is because we've had a very distinct focus on dual enrollment. And dual enrollment is enrolling students who are in high school so that they can start to get exposed to college and start to earn college credits. So you and I, we're probably familiar with advanced placement. That used to be what everyone did.
Taking AP classes, Mom.
Exactly. Let's boost that GPA. Let's earn some credit. Well, the problem with AP is that it costs money. And that is a barrier. And so we wanted to make sure everybody who wanted to earn college credit had that opportunity. So there's really been a movement even across the state and country because we also know that not only are we removing that financial barrier for students, but we're exposing them to what they can do. So if they have success as a freshman or a sophomore in a college class, all of a sudden they see themselves as college-going material. And we've seen that. And we've also seen that their success rates are actually higher than our native students, our older students. So we've grown, even last fall, I think we've grown over 30%. We've grown 130-something% even in the pandemic.
This is in the under 18?
In the under 18. So
Wow.
we're serving over 5,000 students this fall in high school, basically.
And just the confidence they would have coming into the system with experience already.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, some of the ones that are gung-ho, and we are certainly working, we actually have a couple of middle college models, but that is that we really would love it if those students came out with their AA degree. Wouldn't that be something? And then they can just transfer right to a 4-year when they get out.
Right.
And think of the money they would save for their families.
That's where I was just going to go. And that's a perfect segue to money.
Yes, sure.
And the purpose of the foundation. So we think about the school. We know there's tuition. We know there's cost. There's books, and in some cases even residency, depending on where you are and how you're doing it. It can get expensive.
Yes.
And depending on the individual, you have somebody 50, 60 years old who's just looking to re-enter the workforce for some reason because the job disappeared or whatever it may be, and they need a new skill set.
Yes.
What does the foundation do? Why does the foundation exist?
Yeah.
Because, again, we think, I give to my grammar school.
Right.
It's a private school, so we contribute. Maybe to the high school, private school, we contribute. But when we get into the state system of colleges, you tend to expect that that's taken care of. Hence the foundation.
Right, exactly.
So walk us through that.
Sure.
What is the purpose? Why does it exist? What does it do?
Sure. So our purpose is, we have one purpose only, and that is to raise money for students in colleges. So we are the 501c3 philanthropic arm for all of the 4 colleges, as well as the Harris Center for the Arts. So day in and day out, our goal is to raise
as well as the Harris Center for the Arts.
Yes. I can't wait to share with you a little bit more about that. But the why is, I don't think folks realize the need that our students have. And it goes back to the population of who we serve. So it's sort of crazy. I always think of it as an upside down pyramid. But to your point, tuition is definitely cheaper, tuition and fees for community college students. In fact, for many of them, it's covered thanks to the California Promise Grant that the state has in place for low-income, first-time, full-time students. But that's not the whole cost. So when you look at the cost of transportation and books and supplies and housing, there was just a report done by the Institute for College Access and Success, TICAS, and they looked at our region in particular, so compared a Los Rios campus with Sac State and UC Davis. And the problem in the community college world is our students are eligible for the least amount of financial aid. It's kind of crazy. So our students receive the least amount, so that means their nut is higher. So the differences are pretty significant. So for Los Rios, when you look at what the net costs are for one of our students, it's $20,500, and that is $4,600 in financial aid. For a Sac State student, it's $17,100, and that is $14,000 in financial aid. And for a UC student, it's only $12,000 net cost with $28,000 in financial aid. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's almost
logically.
backwards.
It feels backwards.
So the most sophisticated medical university, let's say UC Davis, has the most support
Yes.
for the student.
Right.
Whereas the student who probably needs the most support
Yes.
at the community college, which is why they're going to the community college in the first place,
right.
gets the least.
Exactly. And, we always bemoan, well, why do our students work so much? They really need to focus. They need to get through here in 2 years.
Because they have to.
They have to. When you look at the statistics, the average community college student working over 36 hours a week, 47% of our students versus a Sac State or UC student, it's 22%.
That was my next question. I was just going to say, I hope you have that stat.
I do, yeah.
So from virtually half of the students are working to support themselves,
Correct.
whereas in the four-year universities locally, a quarter.
Right. And when you also look at our student profile, about 47% are low income, a quarter are below the poverty line, 27% are the first in their family to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them are taking care of siblings or parents or, to your point earlier, their own children. So it is a sacrifice to come and get their education. And so we want to do whatever we can to support them, to get them through and to achieve their dreams, whether that be, again, to go to the workforce right away or to transfer. So we exist to raise money to support them. And I can share with you some of the ways we do that.
You can keep going.
Okay, all right.
Just keep going, Paula, because you're on track
Sure.
and spot on. That was the next question.
Excellent.
What does that look like?
Yes. So for us, our bread and butter is still scholarships. We know that $500 or $1,000 scholarship just means the world of difference to a student. And it removes some barriers so they can pay for that rent or they can buy their books and be prepared. So that is a big focus of ours, is just to raise money for scholarships. We also have some focus areas where we know there's certain populations of students that could use some extra assistance. So, for example, our athletes, our student athletes. It used to be that our athletics programs were, still is, our athletics programs were funded on bookstore revenues. Well, you can imagine how well our bookstore revenues are doing. So they just continue to dwindle. So we're continuing to find new ways to support those students because they have to travel to conferences or games, and they need money to eat. And we need to raise money for their uniforms and all those things. So that's an active group that we support. We also know student athletes do really well compared to the general population because there's a lot of support services for them. So we want to continue to invest. And it also, a lot of times, our athletes are our most disproportionately impacted students. So we want to continue to help them to succeed. Another area of emphasis for us has been basic needs. And when I started 8 years ago, it really wasn't as significant.
That's a key statement right there. Only 8 years ago, it wasn't as significant.
Yep.
And I hear this from everywhere, whether we're talking to the food banks, whether we're talking to the support systems for legal, the basic needs at this point, it's just overwhelming.
It is. It really is. And
you've seen that in just your 8 years.
I have. And, in the beginning you would hear, oh, well, we're about education. We're not a social service institution or blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Everyone has embraced that, what? If you are hungry or you don't have a place to lay your head at night, how are you supposed to study and do well in school?
Right.
And it just takes all of us together to help our students. So I've been really proud of our district. At every single one of our campuses through the pandemic, we created what is called a basic needs center. So it's a one-stop shop for a student to go to the food pantry, to visit the clothing closet, to get an outfit so they can go interview.
Right.
We created an emergency hotel voucher program in the pandemic. So if you really just needed a place to stay for a week or so until you get everything together, maybe you're just saving money for a rental deposit, you have a safe place to go. And then, of course, that's where our student emergency fund comes in for students facing a critical need. So we also don't want students to feel embarrassed about their situation. So we've made these centers really lovely places to visit so they're not ashamed, and we can show them how to sign up for CalFresh and all kinds of resources that we connect them to through these centers. So that's definitely been a big focus of the foundation.
We'll be right back to learn more about the value of our community college foundations after a few words about the wonderful businesses that make this program possible. I was in the media business for over 35 years and had the great privilege of working with Runyon Saltzman, RSE, Marketing, Advertising, and Public Relations. We collaborated on many different campaigns, but their commitment to the nonprofit sector hasn't changed since their founder, Gene Runyon, started the agency. Over many years and many campaigns, Runyon Saltzman has been committed to improving lives by tackling California's most challenging issues. Guided by research-informed strategies and insightful, creative solutions, RSE develops innovative communications campaigns that raise awareness, educate, and reduce stigma in diverse communities throughout our state and beyond. To learn more about RSE, visit rs-e.com.
Hello, this is Scott Thomas with Cap Trust in our Sacramento office. I specialize in working with local nonprofits and associations. Annually, we survey private and public nonprofit organizations across the country to better understand challenges they see in today's environment. In our more recent survey, we heard concerns about proper board governance, mission-aligned investment, and how to implement alternative investments. If you would like a copy of the survey or to discuss your organization, look me up, Scott Thomas at captrust.com.
I'm thrilled to have Western Health Advantage partnering with us as they do so much to support so many nonprofit agencies in our community. As a truly local health plan, you'll find individual and family options, employer options, plans for CalPERS and Medicare Advantage. From medical services to pharmacy, health and wellness support, as well as behavioral health care, Western Health Advantage has a plan that fits what you need. As an employer, for profit or nonprofit business, individual or family, you can find more at westernhealth.com. As we go through the progression of services that are offered, you also have some other programs, the Dream Center and DACA. What does that look like from the foundation's perspective to the student perspective?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, that is such a timely question.
Well, yes, today.
Yeah, it is. It is today. And I mentioned earlier that we have the basic needs centers. Every campus also has, some call it their undocumented resource center, some call it the Dream Center, but essentially it's a place for students who are immigrants or undocumented or underdocumented to come and feel safe and to feel like they have people that understand their situation and, again, to be connected to resources. So in the last month, the foundation, thanks to undesignated dollars, we really appreciate those because when needs arise, like the one I'm going to describe to you, we are so thankful we're able to meet the moment.
By undesignated,
Yes.
those are like unrestricted.
Yes.
Unrestricted funds.
Exactly. So
Okay.
we call it the Los Rios Colleges Foundation Fund, American River College Fund, CRC Fund, FLC Fund, SCC Fund.
Yes.
So it just allows us flexibility to serve wherever the greatest need is. So in this case, given the uncertainty that that population is experiencing and really some fear, we have created what we're calling Dream Center funds. And it's an opportunity for the staff at those locations just to work with the students and understand their needs. It might be DACA renewal. It might be legal fees. It might be they need a laptop, whatever it is. But we've now established these 4 Dream Center funds on each campus. And it's just a wonderful way, again, to be able to meet the moment and to meet a really significant need right now.
And with the influx of immigrants into the community.
Yes.
From so many different areas.
Yes. And we have another thing that we do is grants in my shop. And we just heard out that we received a little over $900,000 for the next 3 years. For
$900,000.
$900,000. It's
just
wonderful.
A little $900,000.
And that's for the district. But yes, and that will support.
Huge.
We have a wonderful program called Refugee Career Pathways. And this grant in particular will be helping our Ukrainian students just be connected to do some ESL training, learn, be connected to jobs. You know, it's just an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I have people sit in that chair.
Yes.
If they heard 900,
I know, and
that's 3 times my annual budget.
Yes, and believe me, it is very significant to us too. And it's over 3 years.
Yeah.
It's over 4 campuses, but super grateful
That is
to
wonderful.
hear that news this fall.
Who would be some of the collaborative partners that you work with? Who
Sure.
do you see as instrumental in supporting the foundation?
Yeah. Great question, because we certainly could not do this alone.
Right.
So our number one partners are our donors, and we
Yes.
are so grateful to them. Every gift, no matter the size, is so meaningful to us. I also want to give a shout out to the Los Rios Colleges Foundation Board. And that is a group of business and community leaders who just continue to amaze me and roll up their sleeves. I have 3 jobs for them, as I tell them. They're ambassadors, they're advocates, and they're askers. And they do all 3 with just such skill and grace and joy. And so I'm really grateful to that. But, when I think about some big collaborations in the last few years, I just have to thank some corporate partners that have really come alongside us. One that pops into my head is Kaiser Permanente. And early on in COVID, they had gone through a process. Believe it or not, it had to do with construction. They couldn't get their medical buildings built.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and
that's
it, right?
That.
And we know construction is a sore spot for a lot of places in our region, having enough skilled construction workers. So they brought together their subcontractors and then somebody on my board from Capital Impact, Alex Tagavian, or my past board chair, incredible person. He brought us all together so that we could understand what their needs were, like what specific skills they needed to the construction workers to have. And then we were able to work with our wonderful faculty at Los Rios College to really be nimble and understand what tweaks to the curriculum were needed. But also we were able to use scholarship money from Kaiser Permanente to attract new people into the field. So women, people who were disproportionately impacted, formerly incarcerated, because they want diverse workers too and help to lift folks out of poverty and into social mobility. So it's been an incredible partnership, and we are lucky. So we have the apprenticeship, the pre-apprenticeship and construction programs at Consumnes River, but then you drive across Sacramento over to American River College, and we house the apprenticeship programs for the trades industry. And that is really what Kaiser is looking for students to join the professional trades. And so we have a scholarship for students who transition from the pre-apprenticeship over to apprenticeship. And we're removing barriers. So the construction students, they have to take a test, and we pay for the test through that scholarship. We give them this enrollment scholarship. They finish, they get a milestone scholarship. So we've really seen the impact Kaiser Permanente has made through that scholarship. They also just recently signed up for another scholarship, and we call these programs our Promise to Career because we realized that a lot of our scholarships were focused on the students who are transferring to 4 years. We didn't have as much support for our career ed students, and we wanted to support them. And so they just gave us, so the first one was $225,000 for construction. They just gave us a $50,000 grant, which we are so grateful for our allied health students. And that is, our allied health students have lots of barriers when they graduate. These are such competitive programs, they're so hard. They finally get through to the finish line. And that's why we call these finish line scholarships. And they have to pay for state licensing and testing, which is very expensive.
Qualified and capable and competent.
They're ready to
go
to work.
Afford to go to work because they can't pay the fees.
And they've done all this hard work to get there, but then it's their last barrier. So Kaiser Permanente has helped us. So we've started a campaign to raise money for finish line scholarships. Another partner is Schools First Federal Credit Union. They've been a longtime partner of Los Rios. We're about ready to announce a $380,000 partnership over the next 3 years. Super excited about that. They are doing a myriad of things with their dollars. They're doing a really incredible event at American River College where we bring in high school counselors. So that's wonderful outreach to the community professionals to bring them on campus to make sure we're all in alignment to do what's best for our students as they transition from high school to college. They really have been incredibly supportive of our classified professionals, which our campuses just run because of the classified professionals. So some professional development and appreciation there. They're supporting our wonderful faculty by sponsoring our annual tenure reception, and they've established a scholarship endowment. So some wonderful things. And one last collaboration I'm just so excited about, it's got to squeeze in, is with Sutter Health. Sutter Health has just, literally given us millions of dollars in grants and philanthropy over the years. But I mentioned the centers earlier.
Yes.
We are going to be outfitting the Rancho Cordova Center. We're naming it the Folsom Lake College Rancho Cordova Center, empowered by Sutter Health. And what we're doing is with a $2.5 million investment, our largest gift ever, they are completely outfitting the center to train students for specific allied health jobs. We're creating a brand new program to Los Rios, Radiology Tech Certificate. We are partnering with the local high school, Cordova High, because they have a healthcare pathway. And so we're all connecting and partnering together. So it's just incredible. And we are so excited and thankful for that investment.
And we hear so much about the Sutters and the Kaisers
Yes.
contributing to the community.
Yes.
And their contributions create the workforce.
Absolutely true.
This isn't just, here's some money for your organization to prevent or support. They are creating a revenue stream by education that allows those students then to become employed back in the community. It's what a beautiful 360.
Oh, wonderful. It is.
Yeah.
And like the equipment will be going in at Rancho Cordova is top notch, top of the line. We never would have been able to afford that. But it's exactly what students need to be trained on so that they're marketable when they go out to get jobs.
You shared a little bit just through that discussion there in terms of your collaborative partners. It's contribution. It's coming through the foundation. How else do you raise money? Where does the rest of your budget come from?
Sure, absolutely. So again, it's pretty much individuals, corporations, some private support from foundations for grants. So we do have a piece of grants. We, over the last 4 years, gave away $10.6 million right back to our students and our colleges. We are so lucky. Our district has really valued the role the foundation plays, and so they pick up our overhead. They pick up our salaries and our benefits.
Oh,
it's amazing.
Just goes right back out.
So 91 cents of every dollar goes right back out to students and to the colleges. So that is incredible. We also have really focused in the last 5 years on plan giving and really working with donors who want to leave a legacy through a bequest or an IRA charitable rollover, a gift of real estate, their donor advised fund. I've been really grateful. And we actually launched our Los Rios Legacy Society 3 years ago. We're having a lot of fun with that. We're bringing all these folks together. Yes. And I mean, they're just so incredible. Great. There's tax advantages to giving this way, but really they give because of the joy of giving back and thinking about leaving a legacy. So we get together once a year just to thank them. And we have students there and we expose them to, like this last time we went to the hair center and got to hear about all the arts programs across the district. So it's a lot of fun. But then thinking of legacy, something that is really important to us is continuing to build our endowment. Because we want to make sure that long after I'm gone and my team is gone, that there's money in perpetuity. And so when I got here 8 years ago, our portfolio was worth $10 million. And today it's worth $29 million.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we have really focused on growing our endowment. We have an incredible finance committee. We have an incredible investment manager. But really, it's because of folks stepping up and deciding to create these endowments that last forever. Another cool thing we did about a year and a half ago, we received a wonderful $1 million current use gift. Again, that was the largest gift at the time from a retiring faculty who wanted to do something with the art department at Sac City College. But we talked to him, and together we established a separate endowment portfolio and ESG portfolio.
Oh.
So now we offer two, and it's been really nice to have donors have that choice to decide how their dollars are invested, and we've seen a lot of donors excited about that.
Well, that gives everybody the confidence, the sustainability of the organization.
Yes.
The sustainability of the ability to contribute to support the students.
Absolutely. And, I'll share a personal story if I may. So my mom passed a few years ago, and she was a public school principal for 30-something years. But single mom, raised by just an incredible single mom. And when she passed, my family decided to start an endowment in her name. And, for the community, our endowment starts at $10,000, which is actually a bargain compared to some of my higher ed sisters. And so we just worked on what was called an emerging endowment. And so we just started to give until we hit that $10,000 mark. And now we have this incredible $500 scholarship that goes out to students who were raised by a single parent. And we had our scholarship report. Of course, I'm not involved in selecting it, but my sister and I had so much joy, and my girls reading about who we got to support, who went off to UC Berkeley to do great things.
And now you can follow that student
that
you're responsible
Absolutely.
for, who is out in the world doing their thing.
Doing their thing. Yeah, and thanks to my mom. Yep.
How neat.
It's neat. Thanks.
foundation budget, what is the size of your budget? I was going to do the math on that over the 4 years, but I don't want to be incorrect on that.
Sure. Well, so my overall, my portfolio is 29, and then we end up spending about $2 million a year.
Okay.
But again, that's mainly, I mean, it's less than, it's like I don't know, 150 to 300 in like administrative, like,
Yes,
my Raisers Edge platform. But it's over $2 million is going back out to the campuses.
And that really is not inclusive of what Sutter's doing with the center or what Kaiser's doing with some of the programs, correct? Or is that inclusive?
Well, it's inclusive in that that's part of the money that I would give back. So we're basically like a pass-through in a way, if you think about it. But we're a pass-through, but we're the stewards of it. I mean, that's why we exist, to make sure that when a donor gives us dollars, that it's used properly. And that's our role.
Okay,
Yes.
and where the distinction may come is if it's restricted for a particular situation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. And most of our dollars are restricted, either for scholarships or a program like you just shared.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
Well, you've got a lot going on.
It's so fun. I have never had a boring day at work. I love it.
Let's take a minute for our own Dream Center here.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
If budget wasn't an issue,
Sure.
if you didn't have these constraints of you only have so much money, what if you had all the money in the world? What would it look like?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I always say I'm in the dream business because I get to help donors realize their dreams and students realize their dreams, and I'm the matchmaker and put them together. And now I get to dream. That's very exciting. Money. I mean, you heard me say that, we gave out the $10 million. Well, I think a good example is scholarships. So last year we had a little over 600, I think it was like 650,000, just basically about the same number of students. But we had thousands of applicants. And so, man, if we just had more dollars to support students, and, I say it for two reasons. One, because they need it, and it helps them stay in school and achieve. But also, I think, time and time again when we get, because we have our scholarship recipients always send in a thank you, and we always send a report out to every donor. But they always say the best part about the scholarship is that somebody believed in them. And that, to me, is priceless. And so I would want that for as many students as we possibly could have. The other thing that is like total blue sky, but
but this is it.
But this is it. You said Dream Center, right?
Who knows? Somebody listens and says, "I like that idea."
Yeah, really. Well, this is a big idea, but there's elements of it. So the big idea is student housing. Just like everywhere else across the region, housing is a problem for our students, and it's the number one reason why they ask for help in the Student Emergency Fund. We were so blessed. CRC, Consumnes River, received $44 million from the state to build student housing. So it's going to be our first college that will have student housing. It won't be ready until, I think it's 2028. It'll be for low-income students, 147 beds. And so we will end up doing a fundraising campaign around that to try to raise some money to help make that rent even cheaper for students. But aside from somebody coming forward and being willing to build a student housing, I do think there are things that we can do collectively to take that burden away from students. I would love to start like a rental deposit fund so that a student who just needed $1,000
For that deposit.
That is the biggest barrier.
I hear it all the time.
Yes, they can pay the rent. They just can't. It's almost, it's equivalent to that down payment on your house, right?
Yep.
So, and then when they don't have a place to stay, then everything spirals downward.
Right.
And so if we could just raise some money for that, boy, that would just make me thrilled because I know what an impact that would make.
And this is kind of going hand in hand because you blended that conversation.
Yeah.
Greatest need for the foundation. What do you see as the greatest need?
Yeah, and it is very much
the
connected.
homelessness?
So we have an incredible fund called the Student Emergency Fund. And it is a fund that we started before COVID. And we were starting to really raise money separately just for that. And the idea behind it is a student in crisis can come, they fill out an application saying what their crisis is, and then we would give them a $500 check. And we found that really was all the difference. And we're talking, some of them just needed $200 because the tire blew on their car. But if they don't have the money to fix the car,
they can't go to
make
work.
it to school.
They can't go to
work.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just, again, it's that spiraling down thing. And then COVID hit, and then our district, I'm just so proud of and so grateful. So many of us got HERF dollars, state emergency dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Our district decided to give the foundation an allotment of it for the Student Emergency Fund. So we went from giving out, we were so proud right before COVID, we gave out the most amount of student emergency funds, which was 79. In COVID, we gave out $17 million worth of student emergency funds. We were able to up it to $1,000. So we were able to support 17,000 students instead. And that has just been incredible. We have so much data now. We know that a student who receives a student emergency fund persists better, so it goes from one semester to the next, and their success rate is better, so their grades are better. Again, because that emergency situation is off their plate, they're not stressed, they're able to focus on school.
Right, you've taken that burden of worry
Yes.
for just basic living skills.
Exactly.
Or basic living
needs.
Right. Versus,
Yes.
I have to go to school too.
Exactly. So we had to spend all the money this December, so we're out of that money. And so it's just breaking my heart to go back to the $500. But, I have $100,000 to give out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very careful with my dollars, and I have a budget so I can give out for the next 3 years $100,000. If I could raise more for that and help more students, so going from 17,000 to 100 is heartbreaking.
Right. Right.
It's the most I can do. And again, I was so grateful we could impact that many students, but that's certainly weighing on my heart.
Well, and again, for somebody who's listening who might know, every contribution helps here.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to move right back into the student population.
That is so true.
To benefit a student.
Yes.
What's the best way to learn about the college? How does one find out? Not the college.
No, colleges, that's okay.
You have to say the foundation.
Sure,
I'm
bet.
so wrapped up in the students and the college
yeah.
part of it, but the foundation is what's supporting those students. So how do we find out and get the information if we want to either contribute or just learn a little bit more about it?
Sure. Well, definitely would invite someone to go to our website, which is foundation.losrios.edu.
Okay.
So
LOSRIS
edu. Yeah. You'll put that in.
I'll put that
excellent.
in the show notes. I absolutely put that in the show notes.
And then same thing with our email. It's just foundation@losrios.edu. Do you have a minute? Can I tell you?
Please,
okay.
Absolutely, yes.
The one thing we didn't touch on was the Harris Center, and
yes.
It's so unique, and it is something that we support. We kind of consider it a program, but the Harris Center is an incredible performing arts facility located at the Folsom Lake campus, and it's, this February, I think it's celebrating its 12th year.
Can't miss it off of East
You
Bidwell.
can't miss it off of East
And I love the
Bidwell.
performances there.
Yes, it's right on the hill. But, it really is a gem. It's a gem for our students to have, first and foremost, the instructional ability to perform on those stages. There's 3 stages, whether it be our small 100-seat recital hall or our 800-seat large theater, stage 1, and then we have a small 200 mid-size, the City Theater. But it's an incredible opportunity. We have a really great technical theater program, and the students are building sets, and they're getting hired by Broadway Sacramento and Music Circus, and it's been a
TEDx talks and
exactly,
on and on
absolutely.
And on.
So yes, as a matter of fact, tonight I'm going to go see Hadestown. So we have an incredible Broadway series right now. So we have the instruction, we have Broadway. We also have really great community partnerships. We're the home of the Folsom Lake Symphony, El Dorado Musical Theater, the Pops Chorale. So we partner with our nonprofit partners, so they have an incredible place to come. But what my role and the role of the foundation is, just like any other performing arts venue, ticket sales do not cover the cost of running an incredible performing arts center like that. So philanthropy plays a really big role in closing that operations gap. So we have a really exciting membership program. We've revamped it in the last couple years. We have over 30% growth this year in the amount of members. Last night was the opening night for Hadestown. We did a beautiful Art of Wine reception. We invited our local wineries to come pour. We get to hear about them. We invited in the Folsom Lake Choir to sing for us.
Oh, how
nice.
fun.
It was so fun. Nice place to just mingle and get to know each other before going to the show. So we have some great membership benefits. But we also do some really cool things for the community. And so we have what's called the Arts Opportunity Fund, and that is to support emerging artists. So we have an Emerging Artists Grants program. And then we also have our Class Acts program, which is school matinees. And for example, last year we relaunched and had over 1,200 Title I elementary school children come. And we were able to provide the tickets and the transportation for free. So many kids had never been to a theater before.
I was just going to say, I wonder how many of those kids even had a clue what they're going to be walking into when they got there.
Exactly. They were so excited.
Sure.
So I just love the Harris Center, and I feel like it's a privilege that the foundation gets to play a role in helping to have it thrive and continue to serve the community.
Well, and what a great community asset it is.
It is.
You know, for anybody in that greater region.
Yes.
From a proximity standpoint.
Yes.
We hadn't had that prior.
No, we hadn't.
There was nothing like it.
And it's a quick drive up 50 if you're in Sacramento.
Easy
Parking
access.
is easy access. Parking is so cheap, $2. And great shows, and it's safe. And so I invite anybody to come and see a show.
Well, you know, just as an aside, do we have the website for the Harris Center?
Yes, it's harriscenter.net.
Okay.
Yes.
So harriscenter.net.
Yes.
I'll put that in the show notes as well.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Because so much happens there, and so much good happens there in terms of not only the performances, but the educational series that go on.
Yes.
And I'm not even sure of all the other pieces, but I know.
Yeah, I was thinking of, because I'm a theater mama, and my daughter did it in high school, and so the Linnea Festival, which any parent who's had a theater kid, it brings in 1,400 high school theater kids to have 3 days at the Harris Center and get to. It's wonderful. So again, it really is a regional gem, I would say. Yes.
With a lot of access.
Yes,
absolutely. For a lot of different organizations.
A lot of different organizations.
Well, Paula, this has been so enlightening.
Thank you.
And I think it's educated a lot of people to these resources they have right in our backyard over a course of those 4 schools.
Yes.
Like you said, 2,300 miles?
Yes.
That's an unbelievable envelopment, not to mention the fact that it's 62,000 students.
Yes, and I invite any community member, come take a class. The one thing we didn't talk about was really the transition to online and how, I'm so proud of our faculty for pivoting so quickly, but we are about 50-50. It depends on the campus, virtual to in-person. And we don't really know if that's going to change. We were able to meet the market demand. And I would say, there's lots of philosophical debate what's better, to be in a classroom or online. But the reality is we know students want to do it online. So now you can take a class if you live in Tennessee.
That's your basic needs. If you don't have a car, what are you going to do?
Absolutely.
You can still get the education, so then you get the job to get to the car.
Exactly. Right. So we have this incredible inventory now of classes open to anybody in the community.
Oh, I'm glad you offered that because people need to know. That's so important.
Yes.
We see the changing face of our community. We see the difference in the people who are now putting the expectation on the services and the opportunities and education that we offer. And what the foundation is doing is allowing so many more people access to that education. And we all know that education is the pathway to success.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be that four-year education. It can be to a trade, and trades today, they pay so well.
They do.
So just getting through and understanding and having an opportunity and know that you've got the security that you will likely get to a graduation because you're supported in some way, shape, or form. Back to your point of you gave the confidence. You gave me the confidence. Somebody believed in me.
Yes, somebody cares about me.
I'm going to go through it, and the foundation provides that. So for you and your team and the people that are making that happen, that dream of getting through school with an education that's a college education to get them onto the next best job and or the next best education through a four-year university, thank you for what you do.
You're welcome, and we're just grateful to our community for partnering with us in our work.
And what a wonderful steward, enthusiastic steward you are. One of the most enthusiastic people I've had
good.
In the chair.
Well, you could tell. I'm very passionate about my students.
It's that energy and that expressiveness, and I can only imagine what that does when you're presenting to somebody for either a grant or a donor or whatever, how absorbed they are in your story.
Well, we can get excited together about the difference we can make together. Absolutely.
There you go. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If what you heard moved you, please reach out to that organization and do what you can to help. If you like and appreciate what we're doing to support local nonprofits, please give us a positive review, subscribe, and share. If you're a nonprofit with an interest in participating in an episode, you can reach me at jeff@hearmenowstudio.com. If you have a need for the services or products our sponsors offer, please reach out to them. CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations. Runyon Saltzman Incorporated, RSE, marketing, advertising, and public relations, creating integrated communications committed to improving lives. And Western Health Advantage, a full-service healthcare plan for individuals, employer groups, and families. The Nonprofit Podcast Network is a production of, is recorded at, and edited by Hear Me Now Studio.